Today on RB's Toy Box, we take a walk down memory lane. Today's trip down memory lane is going to do something really special. I mean, really, really special. We're going to take a look at kind of how some things got started and the providence that came along with that. Because the strange thing is I was the kind of kid that like waxed his Matchbox cars after he got done playing with them and put them back up on the shelf. And I tried to preserve all the different things that I was given. And during a couple of points in our life, we lost everything. When we deployed to Europe, on the way back, I don't know if the ship sunk or they had problems, but that stuff was pretty much lost. When we moved to Florida, someone busted into our house while we were gone looking for a house down in Florida, and they stole everything that we owned. I mean, everything. I mean, they took the carpets off the floor. They took everything. But we lost all that. But each time that this happened, 3 major times in our life that has happened, I had my stuff, from when I was a kid or special items that were boxed up, including some pictures, and they were put away in storage. Like when we went overseas, that stuff was sitting in my dad's attic. When we went down to Florida, I had put those things in storage over at Mike's house. And so it just one kind of weird thing to another, to where these items that I'm going to show you today, which is, again, where I got my start at collecting and appreciating things like this, were somehow preserved for all of these years. It's really wild when you sit down and look at all the opportunities we had. And I mean, we've lost some very important things and very valuable collectibles that weren't somehow put away, but these very special items somehow made it through. And I don't have the entire selection here today, but the selection that I'm going to start with is this little guy right here. Now this has kind of its own little story in itself. Move that over here. To where this is what started it all for RB's Toy Box. This is just a little, Kodak camera with when you look down through the top and you see the projection view over here. But I was watching, believe it or not, a CHiPs episode, California Highway Patrol. So I did a CHiPs episode, and my dad was cleaning out some things down in the basement, and he brought this upstairs to me. My brother and I were both watching TV together, and he handed this to me, and he said, "I am giving this to you because you take very good care of your stuff, and I want you to have this." Now, obviously that, my dad had seen, me taking care of some stuff. This happened after the Tinker Toy trouble that we talked about, where I had started taking care of all the things that my parents had given me. And, like I said, I was the kid that waxed his Matchbox cars and put them up on the shelf and, guarded his toys with his very life to make sure nothing happened to them. But this was kind of the reward for that. And this was very special. My dad had entrusted something to me that was his, and he had given it to me. This was not something that he just bought off the shelf, like a toy, like this one, that had gone back and forth between me and my brother a bazillion times, because we would trade toys like Indian traders. We would trade toys like crazy. But this was one of them, this little motorcycle carrier. It's got a place in here for 2 motorcycles, which are long gone. I don't even know where even to look to get something like this. But you know, we had this, and we had a couple of other toys that I still had. And some of these toys that you've seen in Arby's Toy Box are things that I had as a kid, but I don't still have, if that makes sense. In other words, I acquired them as an adult, the exact same copy, or in some cases maybe the same toy, because the tank I'm going to show you here in an episode or two, I'm guessing might possibly be one of the ones that got stolen from me, because there's not very many of them left. I'm still wondering about that one, but I wanted to showcase some of these. Some of them are just so simple, you know, a little Luke Skywalker figure that, man, I've had him for, well, you know, since Star Wars came out. A little G.I. Joe figure. You know, we didn't have a ton of G.I. Joe. We had like the Kmart version G.I. Joe, but this was one of the actual G.I. Joe figures that had the little motorized G.I. Joe tank that I'm looking forward to purchasing here in the very near future. And we had these guys here. I don't have a massive collection. I'll show it to you as part of the run reel, but I do have probably 30 or 40 Matchbox cars or Hot Wheels, you know, like this when we were kids. And my dad, and I'm the same way, I don't like getting the really whacked out Matchbox cars. You know, when I sit down, I want to be able to play with them just like they are something that you saw driving down the road. Just regular old vans, and, you know, like this right here, a little telephone, you know, vehicle that, you know, let's see here, this is a Majorette, I don't even know how to say it, but, you know, here's one of these, and, you know, a little race car. You know, we had our little NASCAR bite there. I got a couple of these Cannonball runs. Man, I don't even know how much that would be worth these days, but, you know, a little Cannonball run. And I got these more when I was a teenager. Now, these things, man, have been around the block and back. I mean, these poor guys are stuck with me. When I started working at Mercedes-Benz as a teenager, I bought this guy from the parts department. Little gull wing, you know, beautiful, beautiful rendition. I might try to find another one of those because it's been through its wear. But these guys here, I've got probably 5 or 6 of these. They're just, you know, hollow little metal cars. But where these came into play is the train set. One Christmas, my dad downstairs in the den built a HO scale train set. And I mean, it had the light poles, it had the little machines that, like, you know, chunked out the little wood pieces, and the guys sitting there sawing wood, and the streets and the light and the cars, and then a racetrack. I mean, it was, and he built this in one night. I mean, it was brilliant what he did. But these were the little cars that would kind of drive down the street in the back, and I had some of those when he took the train set down. But some of them, my dad, he would take cars for like our birthday, like this one, which is, you know, you can see has had better days, but he would put our names on them. He would personalize them and make them super, super special when he would give them to us. I call it special. It was probably to keep me and my brother from fighting over it. You know, this one's yours, this one's Daryl's, because it's got your names on it. We won't mix them up, because a lot of times he would buy the same toy for both of us, knowing that my brother and I fought relentlessly over quite a few things. But sometimes we had to come up with stuff. You know, I'd mentioned early on with Star Trek, my dad got me started in Star Trek, but moreover from the technology side. I'm a techie Trekkie. And he took a tissue box, and back then the tissue box was just this little like light blue box that had a flip top on it. And so he went in there and he created a little panel with little dials on it, and he made me a communicator. Just like I wanted a CB, that was the hot big thing. You know, I wanted this little Play CB. And he didn't have the money to get me one, so he went out and just got a speaker grill and an old, you know, handset that he had, and put it on a board and made it look like a CB. And I love those toys. And even this, you know, because, you know, my brother and I have great imaginations. We are not short on great imaginations. This was our A-Team band. And this is when you look at me and you're like, that's not an A-Team van. For somebody who can't afford an A-Team van, this is an A-Team van. You follow me? Okay? That's how this worked when you got 2 presents a year, basically. You got one for Christmas and one for your birthday. And if we were really good and money was okay, we got 2 or 3 Christmas presents. But, you know, we didn't have this great big old, 800 presents under the tree. I mean, on good years, we would have maybe 5 or 6. And not to say that, like, man, you was poor. No, man, we appreciated that. We would open up, and you got to watch the Brewer family Christmas sometime. I mean, we would open up one present, and then Christmas was stopped. We would play with that toy. We would enjoy that toy. We would stop and watch a Christmas movie or drink some hot chocolate and then come back and open the next present. So, I mean, what used to take kids maybe, 7 minutes to pile into all of their presents, it would be an all-day affair in the Brewer household, and we learned to appreciate each gift. If we got something from Grandma, we would stop right then and there. We would write her a thank you card, take a picture of us holding on to the toy so we could get that to her. That's just how we did things, so we could learn to appreciate things better. Something to think about come Christmas time with your kids. Don't make it all about the presents. Make it about the opportunity, the experience, right? Am I making some sense here? Good, good, good. This was my James Bond car. You say, that doesn't look like it. I know, but this was my James Bond car. Okay, you get it? So these things, again, super important to me because they meant something to me. And for all of the things that you collected when you was a kid, and even the things that you collect now, you know what? I get things when I come across, I don't get them just because I get them, okay? You notice I don't have an eBay store. I don't have a website or something where I sell a bunch of stuff. I do have RB'sToyBox.com, by the way, but it's not to sell stuff. It's to enjoy things that meant something to me. Things that we had or didn't have as a kid, to try to acquire those now. So I just wanted to bring out, again, some of the cool things. Oh, I wanted to show you this. I know. This is Casey. I want you to meet Casey. Casey was my favorite stuffed animal of all time. I took Casey with me everywhere. You say, why was he such a special one? Because we got to a point there we were traveling a lot when my dad was transferring out of the military into the CIA kind of type stuff, where he was still retired, but not retired, and so we did a lot of traveling, and Casey would go with us. And every weekend we went on a different excursion to a different campground for years. Years. We never spent hardly any time at home, and Casey was always there. He was the one that helped me stay grounded. And a stuffed animal can do that for a kid. I'm just saying. I kept Casey. Casey is one of these valuables that somehow made it through all of these years. Casey is 45 years old. And I don't even know if Mom and Dad got him brand new. I'm just saying. But I just wanted to share that you're looking inside of RB's heart right now, okay? RB's Toy Box. So if you like this video, you've seen the collection, you want to see more, make sure you hit that like and share button down there. Somewhere down in that little thing right there. Go ahead and click that. I appreciate it. I'm trying to get that 100, subscribers so that I can put the little name at the end of it. Help me reach that goal if you wouldn't mind. This is not charging anybody anything. This is just showcasing my super large, totally cool collection and maybe giving you some advice on some things you can do about that too. RB's Toy Box. I appreciate you guys.